Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. Paul Jasson with you. Thank you for joining us on a beautiful day here in Lancaster as we telecast and broadcast from downtown at Fairfield Federal. Thank you for joining us. We just had Memorial Day, so we're moving well into the summer, so we're looking forward to things that are in the future for us, but I thought I'd have it's payback time here on Fairfield Today. A couple of months ago, down home with Tina Thompson, the very fine host of the show that you watch right here on this same Spectrum channel. Was very nice to have me on, and I talked about honor flights and the things that went on. So I thought the payback for that would be to have her on my show, and we could talk her military career, because as I am a veteran, she also was a veteran. So please let me introduce Tina Thompson, Down Home with Tina. Now it's Fairfield Today, Tina.
Yes, it is.
And I'm in the big seat now. You were in the big seat and got to play Big Daddy with me, and now it's my turn. How does it feel to be over there, not in charge? All you have to do is answer whatever array of questions I may have for you.
Which is kind of scary, Paul.
You should be scared. Be very, very scared. I agree. You know, she has a nice Army hat on. That's good.
Yep.
What years were you in the service?
I was in the service at the Army Reserves from 1990 is when I joined, right out of high school, until 1997. I think it was early 97.
What made you decide right out of high school? Because I just saw a thing in today's paper about several people at Lancaster High School. They were joining right out of high school. So what made, and I know guys, of course I was in a different time, but what made you make up your mind that was going to be an immediate career path for you?
You know, Paul, it's not like some folks will say that their grandparents had joined, or their grandfather, or grandmother, or an aunt or uncle, or even their mom or dad was in the service. Well, for me, I did have family that had been in, but it was a grandfather and uncles. However, I didn't have any intentions whatsoever the day I graduated high school to join the United States Army. I was working at Kroger on Main Street, and I was the cart lady at Bag and Groceries with my cousin, who, she is just a year older than me, and she was attending OUL in Lancaster. And we had a young fella who, I want to say he was just getting out of high school as well, who had been to the recruiters. Well, the way it is when a new recruit finds others, when they go into basic training, they will become promoted. So he was talking to us, I can't remember the young man's name, but he said, hey, and he kept poking us. I say poking us because my cousin worked there as well, and he was saying, why don't you go see my recruiter? Why don't you go see my recruiter? And she was like, okay. And I was like, okay, because we're just so much alike in our personalities. I always said when you get the two of us together, you just never know, because we're just silly and goofy.
Shocking.
Yeah, right, I know. So anyways, we went up, and she goes up, and she has her conversation and such, and she comes down, and she says, it's a MEPS, I believe it is, and she comes down, and she goes, well, I just joined. And I looked at her, and I instantly, honestly, I said, without a second, another thought on it, you can't go without me. And lo and behold.
So the only choice then is you go too, because she's not getting out of this.
No, but she got the bonus.
So you joined pretty much right out of high school within a month or very quickly?
I left right as the new school year was beginning.
Okay, so I had the summer off, and then you got going. Where was your first duty? Where did you take basic training?
And this is funny, because I always ask folks this whenever I meet a fellow veteran. I say, hey, where did you go to basic? Well, of course, after I thought about it, no, anybody that joined after me wouldn't have gone to basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey, because they closed it down right after I did my basic training there. So it was Fort Dix, New Jersey.
You went to Fort Dix. We have Fort Knox, very close, but that's the military we love. Why would they send you any place close to where you live? They would send you far away. I always said they always built military bases in places that are too hot, too cold, too dry, too wet. They were too something, and I was at Fort Dix when I went overseas. I went there before I went overseas, and it was not the best place, at least where they stuffed up it, and maybe it was much better for you.
Maybe so.
Yeah, maybe a little.
90, maybe a little bit, but it was still, you know, basic training.
So,
different than what it is now.
So you go from Fort Dix, then you go into, at least we called it AIT, advanced. It was really advanced individual training. We called it advanced infantry training because when I was in, it was Vietnam time. If you were in, you were going. So where did you take your, what I called AIT?
Fort Jackson,
South
Jackson. Carolina.
That's where I had my basic training, was down at Fort Jackson.
Which it was really not too bad because it was winter time when I was there, November, December, that I was, so it wasn't that warm at that time. Still, you know.
It was in the fall for me, September, and I caught pneumonia there. So I don't have the best recollection of Fort Jackson. But of all your duty stations, where was your favorite? Where did you enjoy it the most?
My most,
or dislike it the least? Maybe that's it.
Yeah, well, I would say, I think that though I went twice, I did a lot of ADSW, which was called Active Duty Special Work, because when being in the reserves, you would do your 1 weekend a month and then 2 weeks out of the year. But I met so many amazing people that I wanted to do it more. And what I had found out, Paul, was because I had joined in 90 and it was the end of 91 Desert Storm. Well, so many other people had joined at that time that they were not taking folks when I wanted to join after I had been activated for that and got out and all, because I thought I found a love for the camaraderie and the sisterhood and the brotherhood, and they weren't taking folks at that time, which was a bummer for me. So I started doing active duty special work. So it was in Panama, Central America.
In Panama, very nice duty.
Yeah.
So when you joined, and it was the reserves you joined, you actually joined the reserves. Was there a length commitment? Because if you were drafted, it was 2 years. If you joined, it was 3 years, at least in the Army. Other services had 4-year commitments. Was there a commitment in the reserves for X number of years?
Yes, 6 years. You had to be active.
Yeah.
Unless you would end up getting stationed or moving out of an area where there was a unit, the reserve unit that was too far from where you lived, then they would give you an excuse. And I believe it was an honorary discharge, and that's what happened with my cousin when, after Desert Storm, she ended up not being close to. But I went 7 years.
So when you would have your reserve duty, where would you go for your weekend work?
I would go up to Reynoldsburg. It was Country Club Road, and
Club Road.
Yes, and I have a couple of gentlemen who was my captain, which he retired as a major, which I always will know him as a captain, and Lieutenant Colonel that I'm going to have as a guest coming up. And I was worried about this one. I'm really worried about that those veterans.
You better. They know you. They got stories. Yes. Tina Thompson with us, again, host of her very fine show, Down Home with Tina. Thanks for being on. We wanted to have her on because of her service and the things she's done. In this day and age, I know some other people, Catherine Cheek, Jack Cheek, their daughter joined, I think, the Navy. She's been in the Navy and had a career there. But it's still rare, I think, around here to see that many girls go. You certainly see many young men go, but not that many girls.
No, and even back then, it was even, I think, fewer women that had joined. And we always said it, and I don't know if you remember the Private Benjamin group.
I remember that movie, Goldie Hawn.
We were the group, I say. So when the hat that I have on, one of my Army sisters, and I love social media and the way that you can reach out and find folks.
Sure.
It was probably 20 years before we found the 4 of us.
Off of social media.
Off of social media. And one of them got the hat for all of it, each of us a hat, and that's the hat that I'm wearing today.
Very good.
And those kinds of relationships, you pick up where you left off. Like, there was not even a 20-year gap between the time that we had spoken last. And we reminisce and we laugh. So
and it's like you've never been apart.
Or like we've never shared the story before.
Yeah, I understand. What would you say to young people now? Would you recommend, because it's a different time now, there's a lot of things going on in the world that aren't good. And if you're in the service, sometimes you can get some tough duty stations these days. But what would you just say to somebody now that's thinking about, should I get involved in the military?
I would say, go and talk to a recruiter. Find out what it is that you want to do. There are so many different programs and jobs that there is something, I believe, and feel for everybody. But as far as encouraging, I'm just going to leave it with this. My daughter is about to become a senior in high school, and when she told me that she was interested in joining the military, I was all for it.
Were you all proud of that?
Yes. Now she's still deciding whether she does or not.
Sure.
either way, whatever I always say my kids decide to do, I'm going to be supportive. But that made my heart just smile a little bit, thinking, you know, that would be really, really cool, because when you're standing there on the day you graduate at basic training, for me, there was no other feeling like it. And even now, when I hear the national anthem at games and different places, there's something within my heart that I just go, I am so proud to be an American.
You know, and I look at it, perhaps I look at it a little different. I was drafted. I didn't join. I was drafted back in long time ago, 1967. And it was a long couple of years for me. For me, it was just a difficult time then. But now I look back, and it's been 50 years since I was in, and I feel much like you do. I'm very proud that I was able to serve. I think, in my own mind, I wish we had some type of draft back, because I think it doesn't hurt anybody. Although, again, it's a difficult time. We understand. My dad was in during World War II. I understand I was in during Vietnam. There are things that go on in the world, but it didn't hurt almost anybody I knew that made it back. They would say they were better for their service. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel that there are so many things that happen in one's life that being in basic training alone, and AIT, the way those drill sergeants switch things up, it prepares you for whatever may happen next, to be flexible and just figure it out and go. As a problem solver, it just makes you find other ways to make things work.
When you were in, and again, when I was in, there were no girls in. It was all guys. Mm-hmm. So were the guys and the girls trained together? Were you in the same unit, or did you have an all-girls unit?
Not in basic training, and heaven forbid if you even looked at one of the men soldiers that were walking, that were across the way. They just kept us separate there.
Yeah,
but in AIT, yes, we were in different barracks, but we trained together.
A lot of girls joining back then. Did you see a lot in?
No, not a whole lot. I mean, we had a full, of course, unit in barracks, but we were going all over the place. And some were in different MOSs, so we had some that went with us. And of course, I didn't mention my cousin and I were battle buddies, so we went together.
Very good. Yeah. It's an experience, I know, when you go do something like that, to just reminisce. Now, like you say, the camaraderie is special. You get back with, you're fortunate enough to get back with some of the girls you served with over there, and I'll guarantee it was like you never left. No. It's like it was yesterday in your minds. Mm-hmm. Fun time, right?
Oh, absolutely. Amazing people. I had a little Volkswagen Rabbit when we went to, when we were activated for Desert Storm. Mm-hmm. And it was in Virginia, and it was the funniest thing, because I drove that baby all the way down there, and I'm not quite sure how it got there and how it got back, but I'm sure that I was pretty much on Angel's wings at that time. But we would have to jump start it. Could you see all of us, 4 of us in a
I could see
pushing
that.
It and jumping in to try. But you know what, Paul? We had a vehicle.
Yeah, and you were glad to do it. That's
and they were, yes.
Tina Thompson's been our guest on here. Gosh, thanks for being here and kind of putting up with some of the tomfoolery. Now we're even, the payback for having me on. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Things are going well in your show. You have a great show, great guests. You do a super job. Down Home with Tina Thompson, military, which is really why we had her on today, to talk about military stuff. We just enjoyed kind of reminiscing, both of us kind of just talking military stuff, as we did on the half hour when I was on with you. So we appreciate it very much. Best of luck on your show as you continue to move forward. Down Home with Tina. Go get them.
Thank you.
All right.
It's been an
Tina
honor.
Thompson with us. It's been my pleasure. We'll be back on Fairfield Today in just a moment.
The Lancaster Festival returns for its 38th season, July 21st through the 30th. This year, we proudly present Rick Springfield on July 23rd and Lady A on July 30th. Reserve seating and general admission tickets are available at lancasterfestival.org, by phone at 740-687-4808, or at the box office located at 117 West Wheeling Street in Lancaster. For the full lineup, visit lancasterfestival.org.
When we came here, when Dad was sick, you walked in the doors and you knew you made the right decision. Yeah. They treated Dad like he was so special.
Like he was the only one here.
And they not only treated our dad, but they treated our family.
Yeah.
We had cots, we had soup, we had food. I mean, they treated us like part of the family.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today, and again, I want to thank my good friend Tina Thompson, Down Home with Tina. I think many people know her from that show. She does such a super job over there doing what we do here on Fairfield Today, but it was fun having her on and talking about Memorial Day that went on, and being in the military. We're both kind of military brats and enjoyed swapping a few war stories there. I hope you enjoyed it too. She's a great girl. Going to change it up a little bit from that and talk about some things that are going on, still coming up as we move into really the summertime of Lancaster and Fairfield County. But I tell you, my next guest, he's had a pretty good run here in the last couple of months. He was named marketing director back in March for the Heritage Association, Lancaster Heritage Association here in Lancaster. And prior to that, he's already been the marketing director for the Lancaster Thunder, which won the Premier Basketball League, and their coach, a gentleman we've had on thanks to his help, Phil McKnight. We've had Phil on a couple times. He was named for the second consecutive year Coach of the Year. So we turn to Michael Johnson, and it's been a pretty good run for you. You're involved with a couple of big dog organizations here in Lancaster.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy here.
Been crazy, recently. I bet. Yeah. So you do you still do all your Lancaster Thunder work, yes. And now you're the marketing director for really one of the great organizations here in Lancaster. We have to thank them for so many things that go on now in terms of saving buildings and museums and the things that happen around here. The Heritage Association, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I consider it a really big honor to play a role in preserving the local history and telling the stories of Fairfield County. It's extremely important, and I take it really seriously, and very proud of that.
Now, I was trying to think of the lady that was it Mary Lawrence?
Yes.
Yes, I've had Mary on a few times here, and we had Tammy Drobina on many times. Once as the mayor up in Canal or Carroll, and then mayor, but many times as the head of that. And now she's moved on, and the new director is Wendy
Gregory.
Wendy Gregory. We'll have to get her on. I know you, so I can get you. I know I have a hook here. I got an inside track. So just really, it's been a good run. We're into the summer now. I mean, I think I would have to guess, and you can tell me on that. I would say the Heritage Association is up, running full go right now.
Absolutely. Both museums are open. Yeah. Both museums are doing tours, and we are really getting out into the community, getting involved in some of the events that are already taking place. We want to be involved in that.
Sure.
And Wendy is really big about getting into the community. And there's so many great events that take place, and we're trying to get the museums out. Because I think there's a perception of museums being stale or a little bit old or
only
stuffy.
For old people.
Yeah. Well, we want to get out and show that, they're relevant. Even to today's world, they're relevant. So we're going to certain things like Saturday Cinema we just went to.
Yeah.
We just went to the Community Days Festival and set up there.
Huge event over on the fairgrounds.
Awesome event. So we got to set up next to the Civil War encampment there.
Nice.
So it's just about getting out and getting into the community.
So, and that'll be your job as the marketing director. Michael Johnson is with us. Michael, again, is the marketing director for the Heritage Association here in town. And they're, again, they're the group that kind of began with the Georgian many years ago, and it's evolved into this big organization right now that does so much for Lancaster and Fairfield County in terms of keeping history alive and things like this. And I was reading about something you've got coming up here on June 1st. And maybe this is a first, at least this may be the first I've heard of it. It's the Black Pioneer History Tour, and I know a couple of features are Allen Chapel, which is a big. I know they've been working so hard on that to get it ready to go for this tour, and down in Elmwood Cemetery. So you're kind of the man on this, aren't you?
Yes, I'll be leading this tour, and I did the research for this latest quarterly, and it's going to revolve around several black pioneers, some of the first people that were here. Specifically a man named Scipio Smith, who was a former slave in Virginia, makes his way to Lancaster, Ohio, is emancipated.
Is this through the Underground Railroad? Is that how that?
No, he's actually brought here by his former owner.
Oh, still as a slave?
Well, you couldn't bring slaves into Ohio because Ohio was a free state.
Yes.
So there were ways around that. And one of them was to emancipate your slave before you left. So he comes as like an indentured servant.
Okay.
And that's how you got around
same
sort of
thing,
the slave laws.
Yeah, same thing, only different.
Right.
Yeah.
So he obtains his freedom. He opens up a business downtown Lancaster. The first black man to engage in business in Lancaster. He founds the AME Church, which is now Allen Chapel.
Yeah.
Marries, has a great life. It's an amazing story about what he was able to do.
So what brought this about? What kind of got the Heritage Association, got you kind of sniffing around this as this is going to be something, this is just something somebody heard about and they thought we could really build on this?
The story of Scipio Smith, before I got the job, I was fascinated by him.
So you'd heard of him?
So I've heard of him, and I started researching him because I also do cemetery restoration and headstone cleanings and those sorts of things.
Well, certainly Elmwood Cemetery is right up your alley.
Spot. Yep, absolutely. So that's where it started with some of my research into him. But yeah, finding out here's this 6'4" former slave, huge guy, one leg. He lost his leg early in life. Yeah, it's just a fascinating story. And I said that's going to be my first quarterly. That has to be the first tour that I want to give. And it's just a part of history that I think more people need to know about, and that a lot of people have no idea. But Scipio Smith should rank up there with some of the other famous people from Lancaster.
Well, great job on your part. I guess want to learn more about Scipio Smith, this is how you do it right here, right?
Absolutely.
It's the Allen History Tour. It'll be at Allen Chapel and down at Elmwood Cemetery, and it's Wednesday, June 1st, 6:30 to 8. So what would be a walking tour around the cemetery?
It's going to be a walking and a bus tour.
Okay.
So the transit department has given us 2 buses to use, and we're going to start downtown. We're going to start where his shop was located, and then we're going to talk a little bit about him and a couple others. We're going to get on the bus and go to Allen Chapel. Allen Chapel, the people there are going to give us the history of that church.
They know it very well.
They do, and they're going to sing a few songs for us, which is going to be amazing. Yeah. And just getting to be in that church is an icon.
Yeah.
You know, that's 200 years in that spot doing the exact same thing that he founded 200 years ago.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
And we're going to get back on the bus and head to Elmwood to the Black Burial Ground and point out a few other pioneers.
Headstones, some of them legible down there? Can you
some
still
of them are. Yeah,
make
some
them
of them
out?
are. And I cleaned one up recently with my son, and yeah, some of them are still there.
Is Scipio buried down there?
That's where we believe he's buried.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the records are pretty sketchy back there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, his record is lost to history at this point.
Sure. It's just such a great idea, and in this time, and in this community, again, thanks, I believe, to the Heritage Association and all the people that once upon a time started this when they kind of saved the Georgian, and everything has kind of evolved from that. Absolutely. History is a big deal here, and this is the kind of thing that I think you're going to get a good turnout for this. It's going to be fun. So. You're certainly going to enjoy it. I know that.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And this is a big summer for the Heritage Association. This is 60, 50, 40. 60 years it was founded. It was founded 60 years ago. 50 years ago acquired the Georgian, and 40 years ago acquired the Sherman House.
Nice.
So this is a big summer.
Well, you know, when you look at the job the Heritage Association has done here in town, I know Wendy, Tammy was the same way when she was here, and I know you are, just honored to be involved in an organization that has meant so much to this community.
Yeah, it's a major honor. To be part of preserving Lancaster's past and Fairfield County's past.
And again, you've mentioned some of the things you've been involved in. I know we have the cinema right here behind us. When the weather's good, you have the cinema right here behind us. We understand that. Then you were involved in the community days over there, getting to know people. I guess this is all part of just getting the word out that you know, this is not your grandma's museum anymore. That there are things here for young people and of all stripes, something for everyone.
Absolutely. And in fact, the next Saturday cinema in June, we're going to have a mini tour of the Georgian before the movie starts. We're going to take some kids up to the Georgian. And at the Georgian, there's all kinds of animal carvings on the furniture and different things. So we've got a little scavenger hunt for the kids to try and locate as many of those animals as they can. So doing fun things like that to get the kids involved.
And I think that probably really is the calling of any organization like yours, is to find young people who want to get engaged, parents who want to let their kids know about history, about Allen Chapel, about Elmwood Cemetery, about the Georgian, about the Sherman House, everything like that. I mean, you've got a great story to tell, and I guess it's now it's going to be fun to get that word out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Black History or Black Pioneer History Tour takes an hour and a half. That's what the estimate is from beginning to end. 6:30 you meet downtown?
6:30 we'll meet here downtown. People can buy tickets by calling the office at Fairfield Heritage. We can take your order over the phone, or you can go to fairfieldheritage.org and you can buy online.
654-9923. I know you were going to tell me that, and I know you know it, so there wasn't any problem. Or fairfieldheritage.org. Got a great website. I mean, it's very interactive. It takes you to so many places and see so many things. It's just going to be fun. So you've got a summer of, I guess you'll be very involved with the Lancaster Festival when it's happening down here.
Yes.
They used to have a tea over there. They still have that going on?
We will be having the tea again. It's very popular. That sells out almost immediately every year. Yeah. But they're going to have a festival tea in July.
July 26th, yeah.
And that's going to be a Mad Hatter theme.
Mad Hatter theme. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
So that's always a fun event.
August, Women in History Luncheon. You've got some things planned out here for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Klein Air Painting Exhibit and Sale. That's at in the Georgian.
Yeah, and
that's in late August.
Yeah, and that'll be something that's going to be taking place all over downtown. In fact, all over Lancaster.
Okay.
Where all the artists are going to meet down here, and they're going to kind of spread out, and they do paintings outdoors. And then we're going to have some at the Georgian available to look at and to purchase, and that should be really fun.
Well, I mean, again, you have a great story to tell there, and I'm sure that makes your job a lot of fun.
Yes, it really does.
I mean, there have been people telling this story for a while, and it's your turn now in the hopper to talk about it. So again, I would suggest you go to fairfieldheritage.org. Great website. I know you keep updating it and trying to keep it current all the time and things going on. You can get tickets for their Black Pioneer History Tour at either there, fairfieldheritage.org. Can they order it online? Can they do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get tickets online, or you can call the office.
Either way. 654-9923 is the place. So I can tell you're pretty excited about this getting to be will this be your first big event that you're in charge of?
Yes. This will be the first big tour, first big event. So.
Well, I hope you have a day like this outside. Again, whether we were talking about community days or the old car show or anything that goes on, the Memorial Day parade that goes on, the weather's the key. So you have a day like this, you're going to have a great turnout. So,
but we'll make it work either way.
I want to thank the good people over at the Allen Chapel. They're working very hard on renovating that and getting it looked all spruced up, and Swiffy over there is looking real good over there.
They are. It's really coming together, and they're getting ready to put new siding on. And
it's going to be perfect. Still got a little time to get, so good luck on that. Keep the weather good to help them get through it. Michael Johnson's been our guest. Michael is the marketing director for the Fairfield Heritage Association here in town. So again, get online. You can put that in your search engine, Fairfield Heritage Association. It'll bring you to it. We've got a great website, and they've got several events going on they're involved with. But again, the current one is that Black Pioneer History Tour on June 1st. Yeah, June 1st, 6:30 to 8. You have to get tickets ahead of time. $20 a person. Get them on there. Got to get your tickets early because probably no limit though. Only maybe the bus.
Yeah, we do have a limit as far as the bus. There's 2 buses, so we can only take.
Okay, so get them early and get them in there. So it's going to be a great tour. Michael's going to lead the tour there, so going to learn all about Scipio Smith. That's again, sounds like just a fun time, fascinating time. Good luck with that as you begin your time with the Heritage Association, and keep that Thunder thing going too. I
plan on it.
Yeah. So Michael Johnson, pretty involved and engaged here in Lancaster. Thanks for being with us, Michael.
Thank you for having me.
Michael Johnson's been with us and talk about the Heritage Association here in Lancaster. And thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with Fairfield Federal, presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fair Hope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Frankie Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield County Adam H., Dagger Law, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.